This is Mac OS Ken.
Stand by to let loose. The NLRB finds Apple guilty, and Citi says buy Apple shares ahead of WWDC. It is Tuesday, the 7th of May, 2024. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken. Brought to you by yours truly and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSCan. We will start the day with today's thing, since by the time you hear this, that thing may be over. Apple's Let Loose product event is set to fire off at 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific. Almost definitely going to be an iPad event based on past rumors, current art, and hints found in code. The art may be gone by the time you get these words. A piece from Mac Rumors outlined an interactive element added to Apple's site on Monday. If you went to apple.com on an iPhone, iPad, or M Series Mac, you could erase the Apple logo that was front and center on the screen, only to see it replaced by another. Apple created a total of 6 logos for the event, the piece says. The interactive eraser cycled through those options. Of course, you know what that means. New Apple logo today. I'm kidding. Mac Rumor says the event is expected to focus on new iPad Pro and iPad Air models, but rumors suggest the iPads will also be accompanied by an overhauled Apple Pencil and a refreshed version of the Magic Keyboard. The Pencil gets support from a couple of points. First, there's erasing the logo to reveal more logos, with the first one being the one with a stylized Apple Pencil running right down the middle of it. Second, remember those code hints I mentioned? According to the same Mac Rumors report, code in iOS 17.5 mentions an Apple Pencil with a squeeze gesture, so it is possible that the new model coming will have a hardware-based erase option enabled with a squeeze. Now, if you dig into Apple's website, there is another hint in other code. A separate piece from Mac Rumors has a reference to an unreleased Apple Pencil Pro has been spotted in the source code for Apple's homepage in Japan. The piece has a computer translation of the site source code saying, folded green, yellow, orange, and blue paper forms the Apple logo. Inside the logo, you can see the creator's hand holding the Apple Pencil Pro and drawing. What's odd is that wording does not turn up in the source code for other Apple landing pages. Mac Rumor says there's a chance that the Japanese website made a translation error. It's also possible that somebody simply forgot to move a word on that site. Or maybe it was left as an Easter egg. Whatever the case, a new Apple Pencil is pretty likely today, with today's pretty likely new iPads. What's worse than trying to get people out of bed at 7 in the morning to watch a video? Trying to get people out of bed at 7 in the morning to watch a short video. Word on the street is that today's Let Loose presentation will clock in at roughly 35 minutes long. That is what iMore says Bloomberg's Mark Gurman said in Sunday's Power On newsletter. Apple has earned a rebuke from the National Labor Relations Board, or NLRB. A piece from Bloomberg says the organization has determined that the Cupertino company illegally interrogated staff at its World Trade Center store in New York City. Running through the timeline, in 2022, Apple confiscated union flyers and would not let workers put such flyers in the retail store's break room. In 2023, a judge determined that those actions, plus the company's coercive interrogation of retail workers, violated federal law. In 2024, specifically yesterday, 3 NLRB members appointed by Democratic Presidents Obama and Biden upheld last year's ruling against Apple. What now? Good question. Bloomberg says the NLRB members ordered Apple to cease and desist from coercively interrogating workers and confiscating union flyers from the break room. They also told the company to post a notice telling employees that it will obey the law and informing workers of their rights. Here's the thing, though. The same Bloomberg piece says the NLRB lacks authority to impose punitive damages or hold executives personally liable for violations. According to a Wikipedia page on the board's workings, NLRB decisions are not self-executing. It must seek court enforcement in order to force an uncooperative party to comply with its orders. Citi analyst Atif Malik has advice for people thinking of buying Apple shares. Buy them now, ahead of the start of WWDC. A piece from Barron's has the analyst super stoked over whatever Apple is expected to announce there and then. On last week's earnings call, Apple CEO Tim Cook talked about the company's bullishness around its opportunity in generative AI. He also highlighted the advantages Apple sees in its soup-to-nuts approach, covering hardware, software, and services, all swaddled in Apple's unwavering focus on privacy. All of that led Malik to issue an upside 90-day catalyst watch on shares of the Cupertino company. According to Barron's, Malik expects Apple to unveil multiple AI developer tools to enhance interactivity and productivity across its devices and operating system, with features such as customized versions of Siri. User customizable or developer customizable? User customizable I could get into. Whatever the case, Malik is stoked. He's got a buy rating on Apple shares and a price target of $210. Apple Maps has gotten more bicycle-friendly in the Netherlands. 9to5Mac says the Cupertino cartographers flipped the switch on cycling route data for iPhone and Apple Watch over the weekend. According to Apple, that feature offers routes on bike paths, bike lanes, and bike-friendly roads when available. You can preview the elevation for your ride, check how busy a road is, and choose a route that best avoids hills. The 9to5Mac piece says the Netherlands is considered a premier destination for cycling enthusiasts, thanks to bike-friendly laws, extensive and maintained bike paths, and Dutch cities designed around the transportation mode. What they don't have yet is recognition of the new functionality on Apple's site. While the report cites a post from iCulture saying the feature is live for the Netherlands, it is not among the supported countries listed on Apple's site. This year's Pride celebration is just around the corner. As it has for the past several years, Apple has introduced a Pride Edition band for Apple Watch, along with associated wallpapers for iPhone and iPad, as well as a new face for the chronometer. Championing global movements to protect and advance equality for LGBTQ+ communities, the band seems reminiscent of a previous offering or two. According to the company, the new Pride Edition braided solo loop evokes the strength and beauty of LGBTQ+ communities with a vibrant, fluorescent design inspired by multiple pride flags and features a laser-etched lug that reads, Pride 2024. The lug and the exact color combinations may be different, but I'm pretty sure they've done a Pride Edition braided solo loop before. Perhaps more innovative are the wallpapers on watch face. According to the company, users can choose from a spectrum of colors to personalize their watch face and wallpapers. On Apple Watch, the colors trace each numeral of the watch face and react in real time as the user moves their wrist based on input from the gyroscope. On iPhone and iPad, beams of color spell out Pride and dynamically move when the user unlocks their device. The watch band comes out on the 22nd of May, and it does not come cheap. It'll run buyers $99. As for the digital assets, they will arrive along with iOS 17.5, iPadOS 17.5, and watchOS 10.5. One assumes that they will be out on or around the 22nd as well. Before we part ways for the day, I got an email from Randy on Monday that proved quite enlightening. He started off by saying the fault, he thought, was not with me, but with Cult of Mac, referencing the story I brought you yesterday, the one wherein the cult said Google's payment to Apple of $20 billion in 2022 was 17.5% of Apple's 2022 revenue. That seemed wrong to Randy. According to his email, revenue was $394 billion, and $20 billion is about 5% of that, not 17% as reported. Perhaps Cult of Mac meant to say the $20 billion is 17% of operating income or net income. The way Randy sees it, it still has a potential 17% impact on net income, even only being 5% of revenue. So is this a big deal, he asks. Still, yes. Just using accurate numbers, so says Randy. Yeah, it looks like the cult cut a corner and confused a couple of terms in the process. Referring to a payment made by Google to Apple in 2022, what the Cult of Mac piece said was Google's payment accounted for 17.5% of Apple's revenue. Randy's email prompted me to dig a little deeper to the Bloomberg piece on which the Cult of Mac piece was based. What it actually said was, in 2020, Google's payments to Apple constituted 17.5% of the iPhone maker's operating income. That's two things that the cult apparently got wrong. Bloomberg was using numbers from 2020 to illustrate how important the 2022 numbers probably are. That is thing one. Thing two was using the terms revenue and operating income interchangeably, which Randy suspected was the case. While both terms showed the money that a company makes, a post on Investopedia.com says the two numbers are different ways of expressing a company's earnings. According to the post, the main difference is that revenue is a company's income before deducting expenses, while operating income represents the profit after subtracting expenses. So, Randy, you're right. Something was wrong. And thanks for pointing it out. It is truly appreciated. One last thing before we split. Did you pick up one of the starter boxes from Pen Chalet a couple of weeks back? I would love to hear what you got and what you thought. Whether you got a starter box or picked up something else, drop me a line. Let me know. info@macosken.com. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macosken. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media. Online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. info@macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. Let's let loose.
Ciao.